A baby sloth that fell from a tree after the storm and was trapped under rocks on the shore and would surely have died without human help. A sloth who was holding on to a branch with its last strength and could die in the current of the river. And a sloth who thanked its rescuers in the most unusual way. Get ready to hear 6 amazing stories of sloth rescues that could not survive without human help. Number 6. Costa Rica is often hit by hurricanes. After one of them, this little sloth was trapped between rocks. It was squeaking with fear, loudly asking for help. The poor baby was frightened to death, and God knows how long it was trapped in this rock. Fortunately, the kind people on the beach helped it. A man named Dirk, who volunteered to help the baby sloth, gently pulled it out from under the rocks. Then he wiped it off, wrapped a warm towel around it, and carefully placed the animal in a box. The man and his wife took the sloth to the vet to make sure all of its bones were intact and that the sloth could survive in the wild. On the way to the vet, the sloth dried up and warmed up and didn't look so miserable anymore. Unfortunately, we don't know what happened next, but I think that the worst part is over and the baby's life is now out of danger. Great job, Dirk! Number 5. This baby sloth fell from its mother to the ground and was calling its mother for help.
Oh, you're a baby.
A crying, defenseless sloth on the ground is a tidbit for all sorts of predators, and it will take its mother some time to go down to the ground. The people who witnessed this scene decided to help the baby reunite with its mother as quick as possible. These two-toed sloths are said to be active during the day, but the mother was asleep in the trees with her eyes closed. She probably didn't even notice that the baby was no longer with it, as sloths are known for their very sound sleep. The man took the baby and placed it in a tree, hoping it would crawl to its mother. The baby sloth noticed its mother and began to climb up slowly.
You see the mother?
Yeah, from the other side is better. Come on here.
After a while, the man who rescued the cub received a voice message from his friend.
Hello, Mr. Frank. Mr. Frank, as you can see, looks like at the end the mama pick up the baby. The baby sloth, huh?
The baby was rescued and reunited with its mother. There hardly could have been a better happy ending to this story. Number 4. Some people noticed this sloth in the river when it was quite literally clinging for its life.
He's like, what are you doing?
It was partially in the water and clung to a branch with its claws. If the sloth fell into the water, it would have died. Fortunately, the animal was spotted by kind people who decided to step in and help. They pulled the poor animal out of the water. It is unclear how much time the sloth spent in the water, but there's no doubt that the animal was very scared, exhausted, and hungry. People brought a stick so that the sloth could cling to it and get out of the water. They gave the animal a couple of minutes to recover from shock and moved it closer to the trees.
Let me give you a hand.
The first thing the sloth decided to do was to regain its strength a little and eat. The animal looked around and finally realized that the danger was over. With a look of gratitude over its rescuers, it slowly went about its business. Go, lucky sloth, go!
Bye, Mr. Sloth.
Number 3. This sloth just wanted to cross the road, but everything around was so fast that the animal got shocked and stopped halfway. Passing drivers stopped to help the animal that could get into trouble. They found a stick on the side of the road and brought it to the sloth. The animal quickly realized what people were trying to do and grabbed the branch. The man carried it to the side of the road where the sloth was finally safe. But just wait for my favorite part of this video. Having reached safety, it decided to thank its rescuers. The cute animal slowly raised its claws and waved goodbye. This little creature knows what gratitude is. Number 2. These people, Nestor and his wife Yiscel, have been rescuing sloths for several years. As you know, sloths are very slow animals, and that's why they often get in trouble. Moreover, devastation of forests because of city expansion reduce the habitat of these stunning animals. That's why Nestor and his wife often take calls to rescue sloths in trouble. In this case, instead of a tree, the sloth was caught on an iron ladder, located right next to the road. If the animal decided to cross the road on its own, then it would most likely die. In the video, you can see how Nestor is trying to unhook the sloth from the iron rod, but the animal does not like it because it does not understand whether Nestor is a friend or an enemy. By the way, in case of danger, sloths can become quite fast and agile. It took him some time, but Nestor manages to unhook the animal from the ladder, then from his wife, and finally place the sloth in a cage. Next, the sloth was taken to a rescue center owned by Nestor and his wife to make sure the animal was okay. Sloths aren't fond of staying in captivity and quickly become depressed, so after verifying that the animal can survive in the wild and that it regains strength, it should be released as soon as possible. Nestor and his wife also often help abandoned baby sloths that can't survive in the wild on their own. For example, this baby's mother died. A rescue worker feeds it some milk every few hours.
Come in, Sloth.
Nestor explains that the animals at his rescue center remain wild animals. They do not domesticate the rescued creatures. So as soon as the rescued sloths get strong, they are sent back into the wild. And the sooner that happens, the better. Remember the sloth that was rescued near the road? This buddy is totally fine, and it is time to release it back into the wild. And soon it was done. Words cannot express the depth of appreciation I feel for Nestor and his wife Yiscel for helping these amazing creatures. Number 1. People heard a strange squeaking sound near a fire station. As they got closer to the trees, they saw a very small baby sloth that was only a few days old. The baby was frightened and very hungry. Baby sloths can cry very loudly when they are away from their mother. The baby called out for its mother as loud as it could, but she didn't show up. People spent several hours near the baby hoping to see its mother come back. Unfortunately, the worst happened. The mother did not appear, and people decided to help the baby. They called the Wildlife Rescue Center, and the volunteers soon arrived.
Wow.
It's barely got any hair.
It's right there. Oh, it's a two-toed.
They took another look at the place where the sloth was found, but couldn't locate its mother. After examining the sloth for wounds on its tiny body, they took it with them to the vet. The vet examined the baby again for wounds on its body or any abnormalities.
See any kind of wounds or anything that's abnormal. He looks good. I don't see any wounds at all, so that's good.
He determined from his umbilical cord that the cub was no more than a week old. Fortunately, it was in perfect health, but the vet wasn't sure how long the baby had not eaten or drank. At this age, the main risk is dehydration, so the rescue team had to act quickly. The next step is a routine for such cases. The baby is fed every few hours.
Oh my gosh, look. Good job, bud.
This is the end of the story, but it seems to me that the worst is over for this baby sloth. When it gets stronger, hopefully, it can return to the wild. Also, I have 6 dolphin rescue stories. For example, a story about a mother dolphin calling for her cub while kind people on the shore were removing hooks and fishing line from its body. Click on the video to see stories about dolphins in trouble. See you there!